Hi everybody. So this video is going to try to show how to fix your gradebook in Noodle if the category totals or the course totals aren't showing up, as we've come across that this seems to be an issue once we moved some courses over from Moodle to Noodle. And also some people may have put together their gradebook slightly incorrectly and these errors are starting to show up. And so you may not know if you have these errors until you start putting grades in. I'll show you what the errors do look like so that you can test to see if your gradebook has any problems. And I'm going to try to show you the solution to correcting this. So we're going to take a look at Julia's course here because I know she has issues with her gradebook. And I'm going to walk you through how you're going to fix that particular problem. You navigate to the grades. And just to show you what the error looks like, if you go to user report, and I'll just draw all of the students' user reports, you will see that the students' category totals, so for example the activation total here doesn't appear, as well as the course total down at the bottom. And this error is through all of the students that Julia has. And when she first brought it to our attention, it was only affecting a few students, so it's kind of like a problem that seems to grow on its own, and I think it's just some kind of computer glitch, and sometimes it may look like it's working, but then at some point it may sort of break, and this is the issue that we're going to have to try to deal with. And I'm going to show you what you're going to have to do, and it's going to require you to have to do some edits to your categories and items, and it does take a little bit of time, but once you do the process, it should correct the problem. Okay, so the fix is going to require us to navigate to the categories and items section of the gradebook. And so if you go to the top, you'll see the drop-down menu, you'll see user report, and you can change that to categories and items. And the fix actually requires us to recreate each of the categories and to move all of the assignments into these newly created categories. The issue has to do with the fact that the new Moodle we're using, doesn't use this simple weighted mean of grades, which was a sort of a default setting in the old Moodle and that many people used. And so what's happening is the gradebook doesn't know how to interpret what we're asking it to do, and so it doesn't do anything. And so we just need to move it to the newer version, and it's, again, time consuming a little bit, but it's not too difficult and it does work. And I'm going to walk you through it here right now. So for example, what I'm going to show you is how to recreate this first activation part of Julia's course. So I'm just going to copy the name of this course, this category, and then I'm going to go down to the bottom and I'm going to add a category. So you click add a category, and I'm going to plop that same named category. So I'm making a duplicate. Click on show more, and these don't need to be changed. Category total is a value, and still out of 100 if you have set it to different values. Most people's default is 100, so again, you don't need to change anything here. There's not anything else that you need to deal with the date. And with the parent category, because all of the categories probably belonged to the course, which is the named Planification 10 here, you probably don't need to change that as a default as well. Now, one thing you will need to change is this weight adjusted. Now, the way that the Noodle works, it does some kind of fancy things with the gradebook, and it does some automatic calculations, and that's where we're running into problems. So weight adjusted just means, can we give a weight to this category, which we want to do? So I'm going to click yes. Now, I don't remember what it was, so I'm not going to change it here, but I'm just going to click Save Changes because I'll be able to save it on the next page. So if I click Save Changes, and this is where it's a little time consuming, is it may take a few seconds for it to do its business and create the new category. And you won't see it at the top because new categories are made, they're always created at the bottom. And so what I'm going to do, just to keep things easy, is I'm going to move this new category that I made, and I'm going to move it right above the one that is its duplicate. So I clicked on the little arrow buttons, move, and that allowed me to pick a space to put it, and I moved it near the top. So you see I have exactly the same category names. And you'll see the weights are over here. So this is the original 10%. So I'm going to change this one to 10%. So I'm just matching what's already there. And don't worry about the fact that you're doing these adjustments, because we're going to delete this old category, and so it's not going to affect the overall marks and things like that. And now you'll notice here the big difference is that here it says simple weighted mean of grades, and this one says weighted mean of grades. And so that's the difference, and that's why we need to create these new categories. Now what you're going to need to do is, once we've created the category, is you're going to need to move all of these assignments that are in the original into this new category we made. And this is not so bad, because you can just go over here to the checkboxes, click on all of them, and if you scroll down to the bottom, you will be able to choose where you can move those selected items to. Now you'll see again the name is repeated, and it will be the first one because that's the one where I moved it to the top of the course. So if I click that, it's going to ask me something. I'm going to say okay. And so you see what's happened is that the new category, which has the weighted total mean of grades, now has all those assignments in it. And the old category, which had the simple weighted mean of grades, is now empty. Now you will notice that the weighting that I had tried to apply up here still reads 0, so I'm just going to change that to 10. That matches the one that's down here. Now, with these weights, if you are just wanting to have the assignments weighted against each other equally, so for example, an assignment worth 10 is twice as much value as an assignment worth 5, you can leave these weights all at the default, which is going to be 1. So don't worry about changing those unless you have a desire to do so. But if you were just doing simple weighted mean of grades, that means that all of these things are weighted equally against each other. There's no need to change the 1 to any other number. If you're more comfortable and you want to do that, feel free. But now you can see I changed this 10 up here. I'll just make it 10.0 to match. And just to make sure that that change applies, I'll go down to the bottom and I'll just click here, Save Changes, just to make sure that I now have that new category with the new information weighted properly. And you see there now it's 10, and all the ones are there. And the old one now, what I can do is I can edit, and I can delete it. So I'm going to actually delete that category. Again, this is why it's a little time consuming, is because of the refreshed rate will vary, and that's what's going to slow us down a little bit. So I'm now going to just check to see what that did with some of the students. I've tried this before, so let's see what happens. We see user report. We choose a student that I know was having an issue with this. Hopefully, and it does work, now you see this student that had no category total previously now does show a category total here for the activation unit. Now I don't believe, no, it shows a course unit as well. So let's check out all of the students. And now it seems that the course totals are showing up as well, but my feeling is the reason that that's happening is because there are no other marks in some of these other categories right now, so it's only reading off that first category. I believe what's going to happen as you add more marks, let's see if this happens, as you add more marks, the issue may continue to grow and you may lose category totals in other categories and then eventually the course total. But for now, it looks like that corrected the error that was happening in Julia's book, gradebook, and I would just remind you that if the issue returns and you would end up having no course totals, you would repeat the same process just with every subsequent category. For now, I'm just going to leave it at that because it seemed to correct the mistake. But now you know how to create new categories, move the assignments into those so that you can get rid of this error of no category totals or no course totals showing up in your course. As always, message me if you have any issues, and I hope this was helpful.